Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Peace be upon all of you. I hope that life is actually treating you the way I hope that it is doing so. Today, decided to make such a very simple and humble piece of video for those who would like to know some more information about the topic of today. So I keep it a little bit secret for I don't want to say it right now for you, but I will let you discover it by yourself. So in the next moments to come. So you know today, as I have said, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic that might be the interest of many people, especially those who are planning or who are having intentions to be in the field of teaching. If you are so, then I recommend watching such a very simple video for you that in order for you to come up with as much information about something that will of course help you a lot in the either if you are going to go through the experience of sitting for the next employment based contract, which is of course taking place very soon, inshallah. All what we are waiting for is just the release or the launch of the Ministry of Education. What's more, I think that this video is actually designed to help those who are quite interested in being in the field of teaching, and of course for those who are already in the field of teaching and that would like to enlarge the repertoire of knowledge in terms of teaching skills. All of these things are part of teaching skills and approaches and techniques, and all of these are materials and tools that teachers are in great need of in the force, especially when they are in their classrooms teaching their students who are actually human beings. Okay. Before I start talking about all of these, about what I have come to talk about, I'd like to share with you. And I know that's my emblem in life. That's my motto in life. So something that I believe in, and I would like you to also believe in it. Why? Because it's gonna help you a lot. Um, in my life, I always believe in starting with what is less challenging and then move on to what is more challenging. So before you go to what is challenging, what is more challenging, first you have to go through what is less challenging. What is less challenging, which means that what is up to your capacities, what is up to your intelligence of understanding. So what is up to your capacities and what you can understand to make it quite easier for everyone to understand. Something that you always try to start with, something that you might better understand, and then move on to what makes you go through a lot of troubles to understand it. So, first, I would like to share with you such an emblem and such a motto that I have in my life. Always start with what is less challenging and then move on to what is more challenging. So that's life, guys, and you have to be more careful or extra more careful especially in some situations in your life. So sometimes we have to be decisive, sometimes we have to pay attention to what we are doing. Sometimes people just think of doing something just because they see other people, other people doing it. So what I would like those people who have this bad habit to do is to immediately stop what they have been doing for some time and focus on their skills and focus on what might help them in the future. So please, from this video onwards, from this moment onwards, stop believing that what other people do can suit you. No, it doesn't. It might suit you and it might not suit you. So what might suit you is what you can do. That's what you have to believe in. So whatever that might uh, whatever that you might do, of course, will definitely suit you and suit your capacities and skills and whatever that you have got. But if you find that you don't do or you can't do something, of course, it's gonna be quite a little bit beyond your capacities. So that's why you have to reconsider changing it by something that you have to or you can do. So please, one more time, I reiterate, always start with what is less challenging and next move on to what is more challenging. So I hope that you got this idea that I would like you to better understand, guys. So otherwise, I don't know. Some people are going to just be in their places moving ahead. Guys, there is a lot ahead of you. Something huge, or a lot of things that you might find challenging. So more challenging, not only challenging, more challenging. So now tell yourself, give yourself an advice. So be an advisor to yourself. Say that I am going to stop all of those things that I have used to do, and today I'm going to change my life. And if you would like to change your life, you have to start with something which is really important. Do what you have, do what you can do. Do what you can do. Start with what you can do, with what is less challenging, and then move on to what is, when you feel that you can do what you can do, then move on to what is more challenging. And once you can do what is more challenging, then move on to the most challenging, something that is beyond a lot of people, and only a very few people who can reach that level. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to what I have actually made such a video for. So in today's video, we are going to, apart from the point that we have discussed in the last few moments, right now we are going to move on to what we actually made this video. Okay. But before doing so, let me take a sip of tea. So, oh my God, it's really delicious. Okay. Um, in today's video, we are going to talk about the teaching methods. That's the topic of today's video. So we are going to talk about teaching methods. So, but we are not going to include and discuss all of the teaching methods, because talking about all of these teaching methods, of course, takes time. What we are going to do is we are going to make a series of videos of 20 minutes, 15 minutes up to 20 minutes, And in each and every video, we are going to discuss and talk and give examples and of course explain, demonstrate everything related to to the method that we are discussing. Okay. In today's video, as I said earlier, we are going to talk about teaching methods with, of course, that's a nightmare to many teachers. So what happens is that teachers understand most of the things that are about the teaching methods, but when it comes to the reality, they find it quite difficult to put all of these knowledge that they got about each and every method into practice. Then they said, oh my god, it's really that difficult to put all of these things into practice. So I believe that that's the most challenging that's the most challenging thing for teachers, is to put those knowledge about a very specific method into practice. And then of course teachers become perplexed, so they become surprised, or they get surprised, they get astonished, so they don't know what to do, how to put those practical knowledge or those very useful knowledge into practice with my students into very very specific atmosphere, which is the classroom. Yes, of course, it's really a nightmare to to a lot of teachers. I'm not including all of the teachers, but okay, there are those teachers who have got the capability and the capacity to put all of the things that they know about every method into practice with their students. Of course, they cannot put all of these things into practice with their students from the beginning, but of course, putting all of these things into practice takes time from each and every teacher. So what happens, or what makes it easier for one, what makes it easier for one teacher and easier for another is the attempts. So the more you try, the more you try, the more accustomed to get to whatever that you are going to learn. So and here I just remember a very important proverb that says, "Practice makes perfect." I believe that most teachers know such a very beautiful proverb. Practice makes perfect. So if you keep doing something today, and of course you do it the following day, and so on and so forth, of course with time you are going to be accustomed to doing that thing, and of course later you are going to be quite perfect in performing it, or in doing it into, or putting it into practice with your students in a comfortable way. Okay. Underline the word comfortable. So comfortable, in a comfortable way, in a very easy way. So when you do it, you feel that you are just it's just a piece of cake. Okay, you feel that you are just kicking a piece of cake. Or even when we say it's just a piece of cake, when we refer to that, what you are doing is very simple. Okay, simpler than you can imagine. Okay, so in today's video, inshallah, we are going to talk about a little bit about grammar translation method. Grammar or grammar translation method. It's one of the most important methods. Of course, everybody knows, all teachers that are in the field know that this method is old-fashioned. It is very old. It has been taking place in the it has been used by teachers in the past many years, but I believe that teachers are still using such a very unique method. So sometimes you have no way but to go back to old methods. That's my point of view. If you share my point of view, let me know that by commenting or leaving a comment below the video. Okay. grammar translation method is actually, as I said, is an old method, teaching method that teachers used to use in the past many years. Um, in today's video, I'm going to give you some background of such a method. Then I'll move on to give you some distinguishing features. So what makes it different from other methods? Then we move on to impact on your classroom and your teaching. So how does this very specific method impact your students and your classroom and your teachings at the same time? And then we move on to that's it. So we are going to discuss three important points. First, we are going to shed light or give some background on this specific or very special method. And then we move on to talk about these pictures, what makes this method quite different from other methods. And then, of course, we are going to end up talking about what makes or the impact of this method on your classroom, on your teaching at the same time. Okay, so first of all, we are going to talk about, or we are going to give a little bit background about such a very beautiful method. Okay, so the grammar translation method looks upon or considers language learning as an intellectual activity, until 20 years, pay attention, until 20 years ago, this method was commonly used in Europe. So that's what I have been talking about before. So I said that this method is very old, is a method which, of course, maybe not certainly, but maybe most of the teachers have stopped using such a method. But personally speaking, honestly speaking, I have never stopped using such a method, because sometimes you have to go back to each and every method. So there is no as we call it, there is no best method, and there is no worst method. So these methods are actually a mixture of methods that help teachers do and exercise their job in a better way. Sometimes there is a lack. Sometimes you need such a method in other contexts, and in other situations you need another method. So it seems that all of these methods are like a coin with two faces, like a coin. For example, coin 1 dirham. So 1 dirham, for example, to make you better understand what I'm talking about, or to make you understand the example, this very beautiful example. One coin, which means 1 dirham, has got two faces. Faces. Okay, one face represents represents maybe the king or something, and the other face represents something else. So those two faces go together with the coin. So removing one of the faces, of course, it's like removing the other face. So to put it differently, they complete each other. So what I can say is that without one of the faces, this coin or this 1 dirham will be with no value. If you remove one of the faces, so there will be no value for such a coin. So even if you would like to buy something with it, you are not going to be able to do. You are not going to be able to do that, because if you go to a grocery and give him that coin with one face, he's going to say, "Come on, are you making mockery of me, or are you belittling me?" So it's like something that you are chasing someone, giving him one coin with one face. It looks, or it seems illogic. So it seems illogic. So okay, so it is actually this method was commonly used in Europe to teach Latin in schools. Those countries uh, that were closely associated with Britain or France sometimes still bear the traces of this association in the use of modified forms of grammar translation in language classrooms. So which means that some countries who are just next door to France and Europe, or next to Britain, excuse me, or France, as I said before, they think of just reformulate such a method. So, which means that they are looking forward to use it differently instead of use it as it is. They try or they mean to change some of the things for a little bit so that it can suit today's teaching and learning. Okay, I hope that I have given you some very valuable background on the top on the translation background grammar translation method. Now we move on to talk about the second point, which is very important, and which of course that where that where lies the most important things that we need to know about such a very beautiful method. Excuse me. So and now what makes this method different? Or of course, there are a lot of aspects or a lot of things that make this method, which is grammar translation method, very unique. It has got some distinguishing features. It has got some distinguishing features, though. So something that makes it different and unlike to other or not similar to other methods. For example, so in a typical grammar translation class, the main focus, please. So this is what makes it different from the other methods. Focus, please. This is what I would like you to go with from such a video, from such a video. Okay, so that's what I would like you to go with when you finish watching such a video. I would like you to better understand all of these things that we are going to talk about right now in the second point. Okay, so in a typical grammar translation class, the main focus is on reading. The main focus is on reading and writing. So reading and writing. So remember that what makes grammar translation method different is that the focus in this method is on what? Is in two skills. Reading and writing. Reading and writing. Okay? And the reading and writing, the focus is on reading and writing in addition to memorization. Memorization. Okay, particularly may be considered a valued teaching tool, especially in societies where all oral traditions are strong, or where periods of study in Quranic or Buddhist schools are the norm. In the United States, where the emphasis is placed on understanding concepts, rather than memorizing texts, the role of memorization tends to be downgraded, so it's not used anymore. However, memorization does not exclude understanding. So when we memorize, it doesn't mean that we exclude understanding. So when you memorize, even when you take a text and you transcript of a song and you try to memorize it by heart or to learn it by heart, in this case, you're not excluding understanding. You have to understand the script before you memorize it, or you have to understand it while memorizing it. Okay? The rule of memorization tends to be, however, memorization does not exclude understanding. So this means that memorization and understanding go go together or happen together. And as a teacher of languages, it behoves you to play to your students' strengths. If the syllabus followed in your school, if the syllabus followed in your school, used in your school, used in your school, includes includes literary texts, and you have presented a poem. You have presented a poem, explored its ideas. Pay attention. Explored its ideas and are satisfied that your student understand them. That's what I have talked about in the last given example. So before you memorize a song, you have to understand its lines, stanzas. You have to understand each and everything before you memorize. Memorization without understanding is nothing. Nothing. Okay. Okay. That your students understand them. Then asking your students to learn the poem, pay attention, is a good way to reinforce learning and one that your students will be used to. Perfect. So your students may also be used to the style of teacher-student interaction. Your students may also be used, they like, which means, so your students may like or might like the style of teacher-student interaction. So teacher-student interaction generated by what? Generated by grammar translation method. Generated by the grammar translation method. In this method, the teacher initiates what? Initiates interaction, and there are seldom any student to student exchanges. So this means that grammar translation method is based on the teacher student interaction. This is another feature of grammar translation method. So the focus or the pattern of work or mode work is based on the teacher student interaction. Okay. Method. In this method, the teacher initiates interaction, and there are seldom any student to student exchanges. So this means that there is no room for communicative for student interaction. There is no room, no way. So grammar translation method does not believe in giving the time or the chance or the opportunity for students to be with themselves, okay, to work together. So there is no room for cooperation. So which means that grammar translation method is based on teacher-student interaction. Teacher-student interaction. Okay. The rule of the rule of the now we move on to talk about the rule of the teacher in such a very beautiful method. Okay. The rule of the teacher, or the role that the teacher play in this method is actually a traditionally authoritarian one, and the role of the student is to obey. So excuse me. So it's really a good method, but sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I felt like I don't like some of the features that this method has come up with. So the rule, especially the role of the teacher in this method, the rule, that's what I don't actually like. So the role of the teacher in such method is an authoritarian one. So which means that the teacher has got a strict authority over the students in the classroom, no, the teacher is an authoritarian, while the students while the students have to obey each and everything that the teacher does in the classroom. So that's what I don't like. That's what I disagree with in such method. Okay, I like everything in such method except for such point specifically. Sudden changes to this dynamic can result in near chaos. So any alteration you want to make should be carried out cautiously. So you may want to ask your supervisor if you can sit in on a few lessons given by your colleagues. Observing other teachers can give you an idea of the sort of student-teacher relationship which exists in your school and can give you the parameters of a model to follow. So you, it's just it's like an advice that is given to those who are going to be in the exercising in the field of teaching. So they might ask their supervisor to sit with to observe other teachers teaching in their classrooms, and of course through those observing classes. The novice teacher who are actually planning to be teachers, they will make their they will actually give them the parameters or give them an idea of what model that they have to follow when they have their own classes to teach. I hope that such a video was actually of use to you, and that's the end of the video. And I hope that it was of use to you guys. Um, Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which of course going to be about another different method. So in the next video, we're of course inshallah going to talk about another different method, which is the direct method. So until that time, I hope that God bless you. Bye for now.